Hey y'all, welcome to the Crafty Cove, where we like to do farmhouse decor on a Dollar Tree budget. My name's Missy. Today I've got 3 super simple farmhouse fall DIYs for you, and we're going to get right into it with DIY number 1. So this first one, we're going to take 2 of the wire wreath rings from the Dollar Tree, the 14-inch ones. And on the first one, we are going to do it where the, you know how it curves? I hope you can understand what I'm saying, but the curved side is going to be upright. Does that make sense? Like the indented side. And then we're going to take some of these picks, pumpkin picks from the Dollar Tree. I use white and orange, and we're just going to remove the little picks from them. And I want to say I use 2 packs of each. I believe it is 2 packs of white, 2 packs of the orange. Now we're going to take some of this Spanish moss, and we're just going to start gluing this onto our wreath. I did this in a chicken egg wreath on YouTube, and I will go ahead and list that one in the description box if you want to watch that one. But all I'm doing is taking that Spanish moss, kind of fluffing it out a little bit, putting some hot glue right on our wreath, and then going all the way around on the inside of this wreath with our Spanish moss. And again, I'm just fluffing it as I go because it's kind of an old Lord, y'all, the smell. It smelt, oh, it was awful. But I sprayed it with some Febreze when I got it all finished so I wouldn't smell. It was almost like a moldy smell. I guess it's because it's moss. I don't know. But anyway, here we are at the end. We're putting on our last bit of moss. Now we're just going to shake off any excess, and we're going to cut off any excess around the edges. Y'all know this is a messy project. I'm a messy crafter, so I apologize if the mess gets to you, but I didn't have another way to do this. Then we're just going to go in and fill in any gaps with more of the Spanish moss. Now I've kind of laid out the pattern that I want to do, and I'm going to start gluing down some leaves and some pumpkins. And the pumpkins, I'm going to alternate from white to orange. And the leaves, you don't really have to use those, but I wanted a little bit more of a filler. I wanted there to be a little bit more color than just the pumpkins there, if that makes any sense. So that's why I decided to go ahead and use the leaves. And I'm just using hot glue. You don't have to really worry about how secure these are. I mean, you want them to be secure, but you're going to put that other wreath on top of it. So that's also going to help hold in all of your leaves and your pumpkins. Then I'm going to take my sweet friend CJ from CJ DIYs sent me these little acorns, and I'm going to take these. Thank you so much, CJ. I'm going to leave her listed in the description box. Y'all, please go check her out if you haven't already, and let her know that Missy from Crafty Cove sent you. She is the sweetest thing ever. I absolutely adore her. And we're going to take these little acorns and glue them one on each of the leaves. Thank you so much, CJ, for these and everything else you sent me. Y'all, she sent me a huge goodie bag, and I was so excited. So thank you, CJ. After we get those glued on, we're going to go ahead and put our other wreath right on top. And we're going to use zip ties to go ahead and get these 2 wreaths secured together. I think I used 9 or 10. I do go ahead and put them on, but I don't pull them completely tight yet because I want to get them all put on first before I pull them tight, or sometimes it gives a distorted, I don't know how to explain it, but if you get them all on and then start to pull them tight one at a time, it just makes it so much easier. I know I'm probably not making any sense. I apologize, y'all. So after we get all of our little zip ties on there, then we're going to start going ahead and tightening all of them. So I just go around and tighten them all, and then I cut off the excess of the zip ties, like those little tails that are hanging off. We just go through and cut each and every one of those off. Next, I'm going to take the sign from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut off the part that says caramel apples. I'm also going to cut off the top here, and I'm going to use some buffalo check ribbon instead of that burlap twine that they had. And I was going to make like a little hanger, but then I realized, wait a minute, that won't work because I want to tie this to my wreath. So I go ahead and glue down one piece of my ribbon here, and that's where I was going to make the hanger and realize, wait a minute, that won't work. So I go ahead and take another piece of buffalo check, and we just go ahead and glue that on there. Next, I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want it to hang, and I decide I want it to hang from the top. So I'm just taking that ribbon and threading it through our wreath. And instead of tying it, I decided just to go ahead and glue the ribbon to itself. You'll see here, like fold it over and then put a line of hot glue and glue it down to itself. It just made it easier, and then there was no like poof from the knot where I tied it to where I would have tied it together. It's just, you know, pretty flat and smooth, so it'll be easier to hang. So we get all of those tied on, and then I decide I don't like how that pumpkin patch part lays, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Then we cut off the strings of that, and now we're just going to glue it to those two pumpkins down there at the bottom. And to do that, I just removed the stems from those. I had to cut one off and the other one just popped out. Just put some hot glue down there and go ahead and glue that on there. Next, we're going to take some buffalo check ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to make a simple bow. I just folded this ribbon over on itself, and then I wrap it around itself 3 different times. So that's going to give me 3 loops. I do it with another smaller ribbon also. I'll show you the ribbon, but the process of making this bow is the exact same thing on the other ribbon. Then we just cut it off, and now we just put that to the side for just a minute, and then we take some more buffalo check ribbon, and I go ahead and cut off the size that I want for my tails. After I get that finished, we're going to stick that right on top of our bundle. Then we're going to scrunch it all in the middle, find the middle and scrunch it all in the middle. And we are just going to put a zip tie on that. Here's the second ribbon that we use, making a bow the exact same way. It's just a pumpkin ribbon from Michael's that I got. Oh, sorry. First, I'm dovetailing this. I apologize, y'all. This is the 3rd time I've done this voiceover today, so hopefully this one will work. Here's the other ribbon that we're going to use the exact same way, just the pumpkin ribbon. Then we glue those 2 bows on top of each other. Take a piece of the buffalo check and wrap it around the center there so you cannot see the zip tie. Then I just tie it in the back, but I leave those tails because we're going to use those to tie this to our wreath. Just made it easier to tie it. Of course, fluff out our bow. We all know that can take some time if we let it. And then we just tie it to the top of our wreath, and that is it. I absolutely love how this little wreath turned out. Y'all, make sure you let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, y'all, now it's time to give away the $20 gift card that we said we were going to give away in Monday's video. And the winner for this gift card is Terry. Terry, I'm so sorry I cannot say your last name, but you have won the $20 gift card. Get in contact with me, or I'll get in contact with you as soon as possible so I can get that mailed out to you. Okay, y'all, DIY number 2. So for this, I'm going to use this wired jute from the Dollar Tree and some of their new fabric that I just found. I'm using 2 bundles of the Farmhouse, 2 bundles of the ticking ribbon, and 3 bundles of the gray and white check. All I'm going to do is cut a slit in the top and then start tearing the ribbon into strips. Once we get all of the strips torn out, then we're going to fold them in half and cut them in half, and that will give us 2 strips to the 1. I hope that makes sense. After we get that finished, we're going to start tying it to our jute. I've been seeing so many garlands out, and I absolutely love them, but y'all, I just cannot, I'm not going to pay $40 for some ribbon that is tied to a piece of string or a piece of wire. I'm sorry. Well, maybe I would, but I just wanted to recreate it on my own. The pattern I use is 2 black and white check, and then a Farmhouse, and then the ticking ribbon. And I just tie these in little knots and then push them all together, and I go almost completely to the end of this wired jute. I do cut a little bit of it off. Y'all, I'm sorry if that made me sound bad for not wanting to spend $40 or $50 on something that I could make for $6. But I guess that's really just the crafter in me, because I like to do these things. And I think to myself, if I can make it cheaper, I'm going to. So forgive me if that sounded a little rude. That was not my intention at all. I have no problems with anyone who does buy their own garland. That's great. I just knew that I could recreate what I wanted and in the style that I wanted. And that's another good thing about this project. You can use any type of ribbon that you would like. So again, we're we're just going through and just tying a knot and pushing all of our fabric together. Now we're at the end and we're going to make a little loop just by folding the wire jute over on itself. I did the same exact thing at the other end. Now, I can use this year round because of the materials, but right now, I do go through and cut off some of the stringies, but you won't get them all off. But why I made this is because I want to be able to change it out for different holidays. So to do that, I'm taking some things like these little sunflowers from the Dollar Tree. I'm cutting them off, part of the stem off, and then I'm just using the stem to wrap around the wired jute and then fluffing out all of the material around it. I do the same exact thing with some pumpkins and leaves from the Dollar Tree. The cutouts, I just put I put a zip tie on the back and just cover it with a piece of masking tape. And this has worked out perfectly. And what I like about this is, again, with the material I used, I can use it for every day, or I can do things like this and switch it out for each season or each holiday. So that's why I'm still calling it a fall DIY, because I'm letting you see how I'm going to do it for different holidays. So here we are, we're putting on our last sunflower, and that's it. Now forgive me for the way I have to show you how I displayed this. Y'all know I'm in a hotel room and it's hard to get good pictures sometimes in the way I have to display, so I just kind of hung it over our bed. But I love how this turned out. I think it's super, super cute. Y'all let me know in the comments below what you think. Okay, y'all, we're on to DIY number 3. For this one, I'm going to do my little take on one of the fall leaf gnome hangers. Now, most people I see use the leaves that are on picks. I decided I wanted to try it with these maple leaves that are loose. I end up using about 4 packs of these, and I just wanted to see if I could do it. Is it my favorite? Maybe not, but I do love how it turns out. Then I take a piece of foam board and cut cut a triangle out to the size that I want. Then I'm using this beautiful fabric from, of course, the Dollar Tree, and we're going to cover we're just going to do part of this right now. But I want to do a little seam in this so it kind of lays flat and there's no, like that right there, the little threadies. So I go ahead and make this little seam with hot glue. Now we're going to place our triangle on it, and we're just going to glue the bottom part of this for right now. We'll come back later and finish up the top part of it, but for now we're just doing the bottom part. After that, we're going to flip it over and we're going to start making our gnome's beard. Now to do that, I'm going to start taking these leaves and I'm going to raise up the fabric there at the bottom, and I'm going to glue these leaves to the foam board. You can see here what I'm doing. Our base layer has to be glued to that foam board, because then we're going to start layering our leaves to make it look like a beard on our gnome. So first we're getting that base layer on there. And I laid all my leaves out in the colors they were, because y'all, I am not organized at all. But I do like to see what I'm working with when it comes to this, like the different colors, so I could try and space them out and not get 2 colors the same. But that proves a little bit difficult, but I mean, I get it. I love how it turned out. It's not my favorite, and I may try to do another one later on down the line, but I really wanted to try it with these loose leaves because I've seen everyone else doing it with the leaf stems. So now what we're doing, we've got that base layer done. Now we're just going to start layering these. I'm layering these right on top of the first layer, just bringing them down, letting them poke out a little bit more than what the first layer did. Now for this third layer and a lot of the layers going down, what I'm doing is raising up that first layer right there and gluing it to the second layer. Does that make any sense? I bring my camera down in just a second and kind of show you a little closer how I'm doing this, but I hope that I'm making sense, because I don't want them to just look like they're all glued together. I want them to look like they're like falling leaves, you know. Okay, here I am. So I put my hot glue on, raise up a leaf, and glue that one to the bottom leaf. Still staggering a little bit, making the bottom come out longer than what the layer above it did, or the layers above it did. And we're going to do this pretty much all the way down until we get the size of the beard that we want. So what I'm doing is kind of trying to make it look like an upside down triangle. Does that make any sense at all? But you can see here what I'm doing. I'm just some I glue on top, some I glue underneath like that right there. Again, just trying to make it look like the leaves are falling out of this little guy's beard, or out of this little guy's hat, and that they are his beard. Everyone's gnome crazy right now. They are growing on me. I will tell you all that. I wasn't a gnome person, but I think I'm slowly becoming one. So here we are about a quarter of the way down of what our beard is going to look like, and we're just continuing to do the same things. Some I glue underneath, some I glue on top. I have no rhyme or reason for this. It may seem a little messy and unorganized, but this is just the best way that I could figure out to get it to look halfway decent. I hope that makes sense. Now we are, again, I didn't realize I showed you all this, but I guess I'm just trying to let you see exactly how I do it. Now we're towards the bottom of our beard. You do see a piece of styrofoam up there. We're going to work with that in just a minute, but for now, we're just finishing up our leaf. I just put that styrofoam there because I wanted to see exactly how long I wanted his beard to be. So our final leaves are going on. Now we're going to remove the styrofoam, and we're going to turn our piece over, and we're going to go ahead and secure the rest of the hat. I'm just adding some hot glue, gluing our fabric down on each side, and then we're just going to go through and cut off all the excess. Usually when I make a gnome hat, y'all know I like the little droopy part where it droops over the side, but I could not get it to work on this. I tried every way in the world and could not get it to work. So I just go ahead and cut it off and make it a point up at the top. But you can see those leaves even look nice from the back side because of how we glued them. I mean, I think they look very nice even from the back. So anyway, I guess I'm just trying to fill in time with my talking right now. But anyway, go ahead and get that fabric completely cut off, and then we're just going to secure that tip up there where the fabric is with hot glue. Then we're going to flip it over, and I decided, oh no, we're going to go to our styrofoam piece. So this styrofoam I got as 2 pieces from the Dollar Tree, and I wish I could have found something else to use as his nose because I really don't like how this is just flat. Yes, it's round, but it's flat, but I just could not find anything big enough. So that's why I use this. And I just go through and paint it with some espresso craft paint, and then I let it dry really, really well. And it takes a little while for this to dry. It's just hard to dry with the heat gun because it is styrofoam. After it dries really well, we're going to stick it under our hat right there in the middle of our leaves, secure it with some hot glue, and then flip it over and go ahead and put more hot glue and secure it down to our leaves. I decided we need a little bit more. Y'all know me, I'm a little extra. So I'm going to take these leaf picks that I got last year from Michael's after fall, and I got them on a really, really good sale. I mean, I may have paid $2 a piece for these picks. And I'm going to cut these off, and I'm going to layer them one on each side of his nose and then one right underneath his nose. And then to cover up the stems, we're just going to cut some of the leaves completely off of the stems. Does that make sense? You'll see here in just a minute what I mean. So I'm going to cut these leaves off of the stems. Now to secure these in place, I'm just pulling those pieces that have the stems on them out. I'm going to run some hot glue. I'm still showing you I'm fussing with it. Run some hot glue along the stem, stick it back up into his hat beside his nose, arrange it like I want it, and then to cover the stem, we'll use a loose leaf and just put some hot glue on that and glue that there. We do the same exact thing for each side and also for the one in the middle below the nose. Again, after we get it glued on there, then I did take those little berries off, but I do use them later. We just use a loose leaf and glue that right on there just to cover up the stems there. And the same thing on the other side, exact same thing. Hot glue, stick it under, and then cover those stems with a loose leaf. Now I decided it's not done yet, so I used a little bow already made from the Dollar Tree. You get 2 of these for $1. Glued that right below the nose, and then I took some more of those loose leaves and I glued them along the rim of his hat. And maybe this was too much. Y'all let me know, but I really wanted it to look like falling leaves, so that's why I did it this way. But y'all let me know if you think this is just too much. Should I have just stopped, you know, after the bow or what? But I do like how he turns out. So after we get all of our leaves glued to the bottom of his hat there, the rim of his hat, then we're going to take another lone leaf, glue it up at the top of the triangle, glue a little pumpkin on there that came off this same leaf pick. And then we go ahead and glue our little berries underneath the leaf there that we took off down below. And y'all, that's it. Super simple, just another take on the falling leaves gnome wreath, wall hanging, whatever you want to call it. But I do think he turned out super cute. But y'all let me know in the comments, do you think it's too much or is it just enough? So here we are at our final reveal, all three of our projects. I had a blast doing this. Make sure y'all stay tuned Monday. I will have a compilation video of all my favorite fall projects, and there will be another giveaway. Thanks for watching. Y'all come back now. You hear?